Hey, free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to take a look at a few flaws of the Infinity Tower. So I'm hoping to do at least the first 3 within the first tower itself. So let's take a look at how I feel is like the best way to deal with these flaws, right? So ideally what we need to do is to make sure that we get 6 stars. And the thing is, if you accept any of the boosts that you might receive, you are going to lose the maximum number of stars that you can potentially get by clearing the flaw. Which means that ideally we need to get 6 stars by letting the enemies get a little bit of buffs as well. So that would make things a little bit more challenging for us, but also give us more rewards, because with more stars, you're able to unlock more rewards over here. So at the very least, what we need is to achieve 54 stars, so you have about 6 stars of leeway. I think this is not really that important because you're not able to get a shimmer from this anyway. So without further ado, let's start with the first flaw. So for this, I think it's quite straightforward. The 5 negative debuffs, or rather the negative buffs for you, some of them are a little bit more challenging, right? Like for example, Silent Void. This is like, at the start of combat, allies are silenced. So this is really crap unless you have a super fast Jin Yao or super fast Catherine that is going to cleanse everything. I think that might work. If you do have a Catherine, that might work. But apart from this, the rest are okay, right? So for example, time travel at the start of enemy turns, their cooldowns have a chance of being reduced. This is okay. Then next is crisis response. When enemies are attacked, their AP is increased. This I think is the second worst debuff for you to pick. Then disaster withdrawal. At the start of enemy actions, a random enemy debuff is removed. This is okay. I think you don't really need to work with debuffs all that much. And then finally, unstoppable. Enemies are immune to AP down. So the thing is, if you pick these, right? You just pick these like so. You just need to brute force DPS them. So just go for time travel, disaster withdrawal, unstoppable, and just bring straight up DPS aspers, and you're gonna perform really well. So I think the first flaw is pretty straightforward, so I'm just going to cheese it completely using like the best aspers in the game, right? But there are 2 waves, so take note that there are 2 waves over here. So the thing is, if we blast through the first wave, we are not able to use our resources for the second wave, so just be very careful about that. So we're actually going to save our skill here, and what we're going to do is we're probably just going to free someone, right, like so. It doesn't really matter, and here we can use our AP push. Not that it really matters all that much, but hey, Dahlia got a turn anyway. And here we use Gaius to cheese through this wave. And we are almost done. We just need this Waters of Lethe and we are good to go. So from here, we just need to snipe this remaining Celine and that's about it, right? So now we can move on to the next wave with our buffs intact, or rather with our Dahlia's buff intact. So from here, we can give ourselves an attack buff and wow, we actually push our AP up even more, but it was not necessary. But you know what? We're going to be done with this anyway. So just like so, big DPS and something like that. And that's about it, right? So that's it for the first flaw. It's pretty simple. Obviously, you won't have the same aspects that I do, but instead of Gaius, you can use something else, right? You can use Sander, for example, just to pop off the Nether Bloom a little bit more effectively. So that is 100 Nexus crystals just like that. So let's move on to the second wave. Now, as always, we're going to skip the 2 buffs at the top because we want to get the 6 stars, right? So we're going to move on to the debuffs here. So the first is going to be Rooted. All enemies are immune to controls. I think this is fine. Next is Joint Combat. When an enemy attacks, they have a chance of assisting with basic abilities. I think this, you do not want to use with this, because if you're going to pick Joint Combat, you're going to probably use a more controlling method, and as such, you may not want to give them Rooted in the first place, right? So that don't make too much sense. Next, we have Departed Blessing. When an enemy dies, the remaining enemy's attack and defense are increased permanently. This is quite scary. And fourth, we have Cowing Gaze. Enemy attacks have a chance of inflicting defense down. I think this is totally okay. And finally, Blessed Theft. When enemies deal damage, they have a chance of stealing buffs. I think this is fine as well. Just don't bring too much buffers and you should be good. So for a flaw like this, it's very straightforward. Just bring a lot of big DPS and nothing should go wrong in my opinion. So as always, we're not going to buff with our Dahlia, we're going to conserve it. So we're going to freeze the Liling like so. Okay, we didn't manage to get a freeze, but it's not going to be too much of a problem for us. We're just going to push AP again, get our Liling all the way to the top. And then rinse and repeat, just deal some damage. But you know what? If you have a Jiangman, I would highly recommend you to make her the fastest, if not the second fastest Esper on your lineup, right? So that you ensure that your debuffs, your Nether Blooms land at the start. So right now, I do not have my Nether Bloom debuffs and all that, but that's still fine. That's still fine because I can cheese it through the use of Gaius. And obviously they have Pritzker here, so you have to be very careful. You may need immunity here, but the thing is, I chose to allow them to strip buffs from me, so immunity might not be the option over here. But you know what? We are still gonna be fine anyway, right? So just like that, pop, 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 and I think we're kind of good to go. So over here, one of them is silenced by the Jiangman's Nether Bloom debuff, so we're just gonna go for the one on the left over here. So just pop, GG, and that's about it. And the thing is, this is not even like the best lineup for you to bring because I'm just bringing a very YOLO team. If you're not able to survive, then just bring something with a little bit more tankiness, a little bit more heals, and that should be fine. Anyway, this content is supposed to be like one of the more endgame content, so to speak. So if you're trying to participate in this, it's probably a good idea to have a wide plethora of espers to use. So like for example, I think Jiangman is going to be perfect. Now finally for the third flaw. So we're just going to look at the debuffs again. Raising Will, enemy crit damage is increased. This is a definite yes for me. Life resist, ally healing received is reduced. This is going to reduce your healing by 50%. I think this is totally okay. Life link, for every 10 actions taken by the enemies, all of their HP ratios are balanced. I think this is very easy for me as well because if you're going to be throwing AoE damage, then this is going to be super easy, right? And fourthly, attack domain, after an enemy takes action, their attack is increased permanently. This is a little bit more scary. And counter attack, when an enemy is attacked, they have a chance of counter-attacking with basic abilities. Actually, you know what? Let's find out what happens if we select more. Oh, you can't select more because the challenge stars are maxed out. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead with this, and as always, we're just gonna bring a powerful cleaving team. And okay, I think some of you guys might be a little bit pissed off right now because I'm using Gaius to cheese through every single one of these waves. So because of that, I'm just gonna change it up a little bit to make it slightly more free to play, right? And I think I don't really need Clara because my healing is reduced by 50%. Not that it really matters all that much, but the thing is, if you have any healer, right, let's say you even have a Hengri, I think she's still gonna work even with a 50% HP reduction. That's still fine. So in a situation where I still want to bring heavy DPS but try to be within the realm of like free to play, I think this is still gonna function perfectly. So Liling, Jiangman, Sander, that's perfectly fine in my opinion. So we are not gonna blast through the first wave like we did previously because we had Gaius. So I think we can use our buffs on Dahlia, that's totally fine. So we're just gonna take out like the prime targets, maybe this, oh my god. She's gonna push their AP up like crazy. Oh no, are we screwed? We are kind of screwed, right? They're gonna take the first turn. I think, oh, they did not take the first turn. Okay, that's pretty cool. So what we're gonna do is we're going to stun Ashley, like so, and kill her as well. Sure. Why not? Oh my god. Oh wow. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so this is where crit damage becomes a little bit of a problem. So if that's the case, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna remove my Hengri, right? I'm just gonna remove my Hengri. I'm gonna bring a Tricky instead. I'm gonna bring something that can land some AoE stuns or some AoE control. Okay, so the thing is, if you do not have a Tricky, that's fine. I mean, you can always use a Lucas. Lucas is gonna perform the same function as long as you have the Zeus Relic set. But just to humor you guys a little bit more, perhaps I can use something like Pritzker. I think Pritzker is still gonna work perfectly fine. Well, we need to make sure that we control the Ashley at the start, or rather like get rid of her as soon as we can, because she's gonna be a problem. So hopefully we stun stuff. Okay, we got the stun on one of the Taylor, which is very deadly in my opinion, right? So we gotta get rid of the other Taylor. And how I'm gonna do it is, yeah, thankfully I stunned the Ashley there, so that's all good. So from here on, we just need to make sure that we get rid of the other Taylor, and I think we are fine, right? Just like so. GG, and then we are okay. So let's just freeze the Ashley. We did get the freeze, very nice. And can we get a stun on the Tangyun here? We did not get a stun, that's fine. Okay, never mind, I think we still have this, right? I think this is still in the bag. So just like that, pop, 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 and now we are just gonna use our normal attack to recover all of our cooldowns, and that's basically it. So we managed to recover all of our skills, and we also have all of our HP intact, which is awesome. So this wave shouldn't be too much of a problem. We're just gonna reset some of their cooldowns, get some stuns. We got a couple of resets here, which is fine. Get more stuns maybe? Yes, we did get a full stun. I mean, the boss cannot be stunned, right? So that's about it. But we can still control his AP like so. We didn't manage to reduce his AP, but maybe now? We didn't even manage to reduce his AP, what the heck? Oh my goodness. But you know what, that's fine. GG, right? Yep, that's basically it. So that's the end of the first 3 waves. And yeah, I know I cheesed the first 2 waves using like uber powerful espers, but the thing is, what I'm trying to showcase is the strategy and the direction that you want to go for. It's not necessarily about the espers that I bring. That is really secondary most of the time. The most important thing is you know exactly what the objective is, and you know exactly how you're going to pursue said objective. And just like that, you know, just shifting your units around, you may not even need a healer sometimes. Just go with whatever works, and it's going to perform perfectly well for you. Anyway, that's the first 3 flaws of the Infinity Tower. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now that said, this has been Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.